this is Mike Mascia, Kedwallader. Thanks for tuning in to Fund Finance Friday Industry Conversations. Kind of a cramped week in fund finance with the bank holiday on Monday. So hope you're hanging in there. Excited to have with me today Sammy Asoli, who's the new head of fund finance at SMBC. Sammy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Mike?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for joining me, man. Well, congratulations on the new job.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited for you. I was thrilled when I heard you got the new role.
You know what? It's funny. I was thrilled as well. It's been a lot of work. It's I was excited to get started. I did have some time to myself on garden leave, which was nice, but hit the ground running, and it's been a busy 2 months.
What did you do? Was it like the summer of Sammy? What did garden leave entail?
Well, I mean, let's be careful here, right? Because garden leave during a pandemic is very different than what I guess I would have dreamt garden leave to be. So, originally I would have thought I had grand visions of, climbing a mountain or, I don't know, sailing across the ocean or something. What I ended up doing actually was effectively laying out in the grass. I live at a very nice park here in Brooklyn. I actually took up running, did quite a bit of reading. It felt good. It was actually a lot of rest and relaxation. 3 months of not really having much to do it was much needed therapy. So,
well, good. I'm glad you got the downtime. So, look, you've inherited a really good team and portfolio over there at SMBC. How are things going?
So far, so good. Everybody's been really wonderful. It's the team has welcomed me, with open arms. It's interesting. Always starting remotely is not something that I anticipated doing. When I originally had this conversation around joining the team, I remember one of the questions I was asked was, how do you inherit a big team and how do you kind of move into this leadership role, on a remote basis? And I sort of ignored the question because I thought by now, things would have been passed and that wouldn't necessarily have been, something that I've gone into. That being said, the team's been actually really excellent and, really proud to join the organization, and everybody's been really welcoming.
Well, good. Well, you probably knew some of the senior folks, but I assume there's some folks you still haven't even met in person that work for you now. You've only met them online.
So I would say that the vast majority of the team, actually, I have not met in person. So, clearly some of the senior directors I know in the market, but most of the people it's been, via WebEx and Zooms and frankly, phone calls. So, I am eager to get to know everybody personally. I think that's an important dimension of, collaboration and teamwork and leadership. We're making do though. It's been good. It's a big team, and I've made a point actually to meet with every single person. So I feel like I have a good grasp on some of the DNA of the team and where we can kind of help build on some of the collaboration that's necessary to be successful during this time.
Great. Well, what about the market generally? Any observations that you guys are following?
Yeah. So it's been interesting, Mike. I think for a number of years now, we've always been looking at the market and saying that, there hasn't been anything that noteworthy in terms of, credit defaults or, certain kind of risks that we've seen. I think it feels a bit different this year. And I don't think it feels different from a risk perspective. I think it feels different a little bit from, some of the commercial understanding we have with clients. So, first and foremost, demand continues to be, at least in my observation, super high. And I think not only demand for, the traditional kind of private equity or private debt funds, but I think a lot of managers are looking at raising dislocation funds. I think there's a lot of opportunistic guys who, have just been mandated an SMA that they're looking to get financing in place. So, we've been on the phone, frankly, nonstop in terms of, thinking about financing structures, putting things together. So, I want to be careful in saying there is a demand or supply imbalance. I certainly don't think that's the case because there's enough liquidity in the market. I do think, however, that the market is moved towards being a little bit more lender friendly because I do think that, guys are looking for bigger facilities and they want to get financing in place, and it's a real opportunity for banks to step in.
Yeah, great. And then what about for the fourth quarter and into 2021? What are you guys forecasting?
Yeah, frankly, continued demand. I've been, very focused on observing the trends this year versus last year. I continue to see demand in the market. I do think that there's quite a bit of demand to get some SMA financing in place as well, particularly before year end. I'm quite bullish on the opportunity on the market. In fact, if I think about the opportunity set, we'll need to be selective as we face into next year as to where we think it's a good fit for us and where strategically we want to step up and provide a bit more balance sheet.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad things are off to a good start. I'm not surprised. Really happy for you getting this new role, Sammy. Congrats.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Mike. It's exciting to be in a new place. I will, shout out to my team at Lloyd's. It was a good group of people, but it's a good challenge for me here, and really excited to be on board SMBC.
That's great. Well, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time. I appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, thanks for having me, and look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Sounds good, Sammy. Everybody, thanks for dialing into this week's Industry Conversations. Have a great weekend.
The material and information contained in the podcast is for general informational purposes only. Any use of the audio within this podcast without the express consent of Cadwalader is prohibited. Quotes from this podcast may not be used without the express permission of the speaker.